go to first.
Miracle recipes. I like this perfect introduction. Thank you very much, Christian. Good. I think we got some 10-15 minutes per presentation, as we said. So I will try to keep it short and sweet. And this is the first presentation. It's a bit, I guess, broader, and then the other presentations will go a bit more into, I guess, details and solutions. So I hope you kind of remembered from the last presentations our personas and the user journeys. We will today try to pick up on those and try to come up with a solution, as Christian said, on how to increase the conversion rate and generally make e-residency more attractive for entrepreneurs. So, my goal is to look at the community, not only the community of e-residents, but the community of this whole big project. Because in the beginnings, e-residency started with the big task to create futures for Estonia. So futures that are sustainable, politically, economically, environmentally, and as well socially sustainable. And if we go to the new webpage, right now we see a huge world map, and we see this wonderful claim that we are on the way to create a new digital society. So digital society is not just about business, it's about as well creating personal interaction and creating a big community. So let's look at the Estonians and the e-residents. At the moment, I hope you can see it a bit. It's a bit, how do you say, flat. The colors are not that bright, but hopefully you can see the two dots. This is how they are at the moment. I guess we have some 1.2 million Estonians. And the e-residents, well, that's a very small dot. It's about 10,000 at the moment, 20,000? 20,000, super cool. So we've got 20,000 e-residents that actually are able to conduct business in the name of Estonia, that have an address in Estonia. So they're somehow affiliated with Estonia. Now, let's just play a little mind game. And let's just suggest e-residency will be successful. Right? That's what we want. And there might be a point where the Estonians and the e-residents will be in a different relationship. So the e-residents will be much more maybe than Estonians. Because if, I don't know if you're, if you got the news that as well e-residency is partnering with, what was it called, UNCTAD, the United Nations, to, how do you say, to strengthen developing countries that actually entrepreneurs can set up a business in Estonia. So the United Nations is empowering entrepreneurs all over the globe to use e-residency as a vehicle for their entrepreneurship. So there might be a point where we have a lot of e-residents and not so many Estonians. Now, at the moment, the e-residents and the Estonians, as you can see, they don't have that much in common. Actually, now they don't even have to travel to Estonia anymore. So the question is, what is the future of this relationship or this digital society? Will we have two classes of residents? I come from Germany. In Germany in the 70s, we got a lot of migrant workers in. And we always said like, yeah, they will go home. We don't need to somehow integrate them. And they said, yeah, we will go home one day. We'll go back to Turkey. Well, history taught us a different lesson. They didn't go home because it was quite nice. They liked it a lot. So we failed to integrate them in the 70s. So they created some sort of, society within the society. And now we're struggling with it because we got people who have, Turkish migration background, maybe even second generation, who don't feel as Germans but have a German passport. And that creates tensions. with the Germans and as well with those new residents. So I guess we have to look a little bit, how can we somehow let those two be aware of each other at least. So look at how this here can be created, those touch points between the e-residents. Because for example, our persona, Sukanya, she's a full stack developer, she has entrepreneurship qualities, but she's not quite sure if e-residency is the right thing for her. She wants something that is maybe a bit bigger than just numbers and business. So she needs to know a little bit more about Estonia and maybe wants to know a bit more about the Estonians as well. So this is actually, and I want you to remember this one, this is where the magic happens. Because the magic doesn't happen between numbers, the magic happens between people. So how do we do this? At the moment there is no visibility. Estonians don't really care about e-residents. They don't see them. Numbers. That's it. E-residents. They don't even have to come to Estonia anymore. How great is that? So they can just deploy their business wherever they want to. There is one problem. If you want to retain your customers, you somehow have to create something bigger than just a business relationship. There has to be some bigger goal. And you have to be aware who you're dealing with. So those e-residents and those Estonians, they need to be visible to each other. So how do we do that? How can we somehow visualize, sorry for this small here, for the small print, how can we visualize that the Estonians are real, but they're getting less and less? And the e-residents are virtual, and they're getting more and more. And they all form this new digital society together. Well, in medieval times, we used signs to communicate things. So at the medieval courts, people didn't communicate with language, they used symbolic actions, like a handshake. A handshake was the way I shook the hand of a meat, actually determined his position in society and how I relate to him. And everybody else in court, like you guys here, could see. Why did they do that? Well, because it was visible and was easy to communicate. You don't have to write anything. I mean, people couldn't read anyway. So it was a very, very effective way to tell people about realities. So what are those signs for real Estonians, but less Estonians, and more virtual e-residents, maybe Estonians? Well, we have a sign. Abandoned houses. Such a powerful sign for Estonians getting a little bit less. Such a powerful sign for the future. Not only in Estonia, but everywhere. Urbanization kicks in. So we already have a sign here. The other sign is a bit more complicated. Where can we see those virtual residents? At the moment, they're just pixels. Pixels are basically lights in a box. This is my box. I see a little bit of light coming in. So what if we put them both together? Those two signs, and create one powerful sign that represents the new Estonia, the new digital society. And that's Project Enlight. So, e-residents can switch on the lights in their abandoned houses remotely. Wow. I like that reaction. So they get abandoned houses, and they can switch on lights in abandoned houses. From wherever they are, whether they're in India or in Canada, they can create a sign. And now you might say, a sign for somebody is at home. Now you might say, that's quite interesting, but it's far-fetched. It's not. It has been done already. Because I thought, what a brilliant idea. That's a great art project, super cool. But the thing is, I wasn't the first one. They did it last year in New York, 2 months. 17,000 houses were enlightened in darkness in the state of New York to actually create this sign for there are houses that are completely empty. What happens to our society? It was called Breathing Lights. And it got a lot of press, as you can imagine. And this is how it looks. So what were the reactions of the people in New York and the press? Well, some people said like, what a waste of money. For nothing. Some people said, I don't know what's happening to our society. What's happening to us? And some people actually started thinking. So there were workshops, hackathons. How can we hack that future?
Oh, 4 minutes.
But generally, it started a discussion between people that usually don't talk to each other. Let's watch this to the end. So let's go back to that idea. E-residents can switch on the lights in their abandoned house remotely. Sounds a bit far-fetched, but go on. It's scalable. You can do that in one house. You can do it in 20 houses. You can do it in 10,000 houses. It's a metaphor. The technology is pretty easy. Sorry. Somehow animated it wrong. Use a remote server, Wi-Fi module, 3G modules. Cost per unit is around 100 euros if you use a 3G module for everything. And it's pretty easy to build. And because it's so easy to build, and people know I love to build, I set up a server, which will be taken down pretty soon. And let's switch on the lights. I'm Sukanya in India, and I'm a hacker, I'm a developer. I want to switch on the lights in the darkness of Estonia. So I hopefully can switch it on. No, going on, go on. Okay, you. So we switch on the lights in Estonia. And then we switch it off because I'm away as an e-resident, and hopefully it does it. Yes, very good. So it is super simple. It is super easy to do. It is relatively low cost. And to go back to why does that increase the conversion rate? Well, it gives e-residency that extra bit that keeps them here. Those developers, those people who believe in something in e-residency. And that might inspire them to actually set up a business. Maybe hack the idea. Maybe you make it open source and people can just play with the lights. They can switch it on into a different color when they set up a business. I don't know. For Estonians, it could be a very powerful sign to see there are new people in our country. How do we deal with this? They do business in our name. And it's actually something good. It enlightens somehow the darkness sometimes. As in Germany, we really profit from the migrant workers. Not only in a business sense, but our culture is enriched. So see this as a bit of a broader idea to, well, really create a digital society. Thank you very much.